again. This is Charles Romans, and welcome back to my little corner of the tube. Today, I'd like to talk about trolls. This is the infamous troll doll, created back in 1959 by a Danish fisherman and woodcutter named Thomas Dam. He needed a Christmas present for his daughter Lila, so he carved this little fella out of wood, used sheep wool for hair, and it had glass eyes. Well, all the people around town, their kids liked that toy so much they wanted toys. So eventually, Thomas Dam created the toy company Dam Dolls, and the troll was mass marketed, and eventually it became made of plastic, and came to the United States in the early 60s, and for about 2 years, everyone had a troll doll. They're cute little dolls, big smiles, bright hair, and they lend themselves well to imitation, of course, because, I mean, it's a happy little toy you can give your kids. Even has been expressed imitation-wise, not copyright infringement-wise, but imitation-wise by other companies. This is actually the Mothman. He's he's got the fuzzy little hair and everything like the troll doll, and he's made along the style of the troll doll. I got this at the Mothman Museum in Point Pleasant, West Virginia. Now, like I said, the troll is a positive little toy. Makes kids happy, and people use them to decorate. They've been made from plastic. They've been turned into plush toys, and all this went forward through the years, and they went through several different evolutions, and until the company was actually purchased by DreamWorks Animation, and for their movie Trolls that came out in 2016, I believe. Okay, now this little troll is harmless. There is not a mean bone in this little fella's body. However, like most things, the cute things in life evolve from a much darker legends. In the same area where Thomas Dam was from, trolls were supernatural beings, and some of them looked large and hideous, others could appear human. And the word troll itself is kind of like a catch-all, kind of like in Celtic mythology when you say fairy, it subsumes a whole bunch of different mythological races. Now, what we think of as a troll, for a European context perhaps, is more along the line of an ogre. This big, brutish, mean creature that haunts deserted bogs and waylays travelers in the middle of the night, and does all sorts of mischief, up to and including death, dismemberment, and all that other kind of stuff. Now, fortunately today, for the most part, we don't really have to worry about these kind of creatures, but it seems as though the word has been appropriated to mean hurtful individuals, which brings us into the 21st century. When people say trolls in the 21st century context, they're typically referring to internet trolls. Now, internet trolls actually behave in a lot of the same ways that the actual mythological creature behave. They, instead of darkness, they use anonymity and subterfuge to work their will on an unsuspecting human populace. They don't operate well in the bright light of day, like the trolls of legend. When they were struck by daylight, they would turn to stone. So modern internet trolls, or any kind of social media troll, really works their will without a lot of, I hesitate to use the word, but notoriety. You'll never really find out who an internet troll is, because much like their mythological counterparts, whenever they want to, they can appear human. But internet trolls, in a very real way, are much more damaging than their mythological counterparts because they can reach more people. Uh, Trolls hit social media and they start throwing out negative comments, hateful comments, and untruths. And they damage their victims psychologically. Now, there used to be the old saying, sticks and stones can break my bones, but names will never hurt me. That only goes so far because when you get a really determined internet troll putting things on your social media, throwing out, like I said, untruths and just hateful comments, then at that point it becomes almost like a psychological poison. And it's really easy to buy into this because, most humans, as a general rule, want to be liked. They want to be told that, yes, you did a good job with this, or yes, you did a good job with that. And when people react negatively to them, even though they initially shake it off and say, well, for instance, your opinion isn't really, doesn't carry much weight with me. But all these things build up over time. And you can actually reduce a person's mental health by this. People lose all joy in life, and just from the negative comments that are spread out from these essentially cowardly individuals. And anonymity is a very dangerous thing, and it works well for them. It's like, for instance, if I walked up to Bob on the street and say, hey, Bob, that picture you posted on Facebook made your butt look fat. Well, if I walked up to him in his face, then Bob is liable to punch me in my face. So there's no layer of separation. But internet trolls can get on and they can make all sorts of negative comments and anything from just, garden variety negativity, kind of like people refer to some people as frenemies. They're not really violent, but they're low-grade negative. It could be anything from that to, there's been numerous cases in the news recently, for instance, where one young woman trolled this young man to the point that he committed suicide. Now, going back to the old saying about sticks and stones, we all want to believe that we have the strength of will to resist these slings and arrows from these random strangers. But it really does hurt. And if we tolerate this over time, as I said before, it builds up. And it really is honestly a low-grade venom. So we need to really pay close attention to the things that people are saying, not to give them weight. But if you pick up a troll, for instance, on your Facebook feed, delete them, ban them, because honestly, you don't need someone telling you, well, for lack of a better putting it, just mean things. It doesn't have to be that you put, Facebook's ubiquitous, for instance. Almost everybody has a Facebook page. And it doesn't have to be that every time you put up a post, there's 10,000 people talk about how wonderful you are. But when you do these things, most people, I believe, share these things in their life, and they want to share them with people that like the same things. For instance, if you stop somewhere and get the most wonderful ham sandwich ever, and you decide you're going to take a picture of this phenomenal ham sandwich and put it on your Facebook feed, and then someone comes along and says, hey, that's a cool sandwich, I'd like to have one, it's all good. Even if someone says, well, I don't really care too much for ham, that's okay too. But when someone jumps in on something that is an innocuous post that has nothing to do with them specifically and makes you feel like you're, less than a person simply because you like a ham sandwich, then that person's a troll and you need to get rid of that person. It's difficult, though, because we want to give our fellow human beings the benefit of the doubt. we want to say things like, oh, well, they were just having a bad day, or maybe they had a horrible life experience with a ham sandwich. We want to give them that benefit of the doubt, so we tolerate this. But when these things do build up, and honestly, we need to nip these things in the bud. On the other end of it, how vicious and destructive do you have to be? How miserable does your life have to be for you to go on to someone else's social media site and make negative comments? If you don't like what they're doing, just don't look at it. If this person's on your friends list and they're saying something that you don't agree with, well, you have the ability to block them. You don't have to listen to this. Now, certain major issues in life need to be discussed. Comments need to be made. But for the most part, it's as simple as, if you're not interested in it, leave it alone. Otherwise, you have run the risk of turning into one of these trolls, and not one of these trolls that are beneficial, but just someone who is toxic to everyone that interacts with them. And that's just truly unfortunate, because people can be better. We don't actually have to be bad. It's that simple. If you don't like something, leave it alone. Let other people like what they like. You like what you like. So, in closing, don't be a troll. If you have to be a troll, then be one of these, or even be the Mothman troll, which is kind of cool, or be Spider-Man. He's not a troll, but he's just in the shot because he's cool. Thank you very much. You have a great day. Oh, and if you like what you've heard, then click the subscribe button. It's totally free. All you need is an email address. Thank you very much.